Hi, I'm Melanie from Nova Scotia, Canada, and this is Adventures in Groceryland. But this is Newbie Container Gardening in Nova Scotia, update number 4. We moved from a location where we had a very large in-ground standard type garden to a location that is not feasible for gardening in the ground. It is rocky, granite, shale, and the soil is not very viable. So we needed to decide how were we going to garden at our new location. And we decided we were going to try container gardening. Almost exclusively container gardening. I have planted some rhubarb and some asparagus directly in the ground, but we don't have a lot of area where we can direct plant in the ground. Pretty much everything is too rocky for in-ground planting. So join me in update number 4. We have been struggling with our tomatoes. We're pretty sure we have figured out what the culprit is, and we are working to resolve that and working just for resolution. Just one moment, please. Chewy, don't eat grass. No grass. The dogs like to eat grass. Anyways, join us for this update and let me know what you think. We think the tomatoes have Septoria leaf spot, which is the Septoria, it's like a fungus. So we have put a natural remedy for now. Let's go take a look. Very aggressive pruning of the lower limbs and any dead looking leaves. We did a natural remedy, which is a gallon of water, a teaspoon of oil, a tablespoon of baking soda, and a squirt of dish soap mixed together. So we just used our watering can, and we've doused them all with the natural fungicide, not herbicide, fungicide. So we are hoping you can see that my new plants are gone. We've moved them. I don't want them anywhere near this. And as of now, the cherry tomatoes that are my duck tomatoes have not, none of them appear to be infected with this fungus. So fingers crossed, we are able to bring these back. So by the looks of these, and this is a couple days later, we didn't really nip the fungus. You can see, like, there's stuff on here. But some of the plants don't look to be as in bad of a shape as some of the other ones. So we have moved every single tomato that is in good shape, the newer ones that we have, away from these buckets. And we are trying to keep them isolated so that whatever is wrong with these does not infect them. I am getting some tomatoes here. Like, this one doesn't look too bad. And so I'm thinking maybe we should even try to separate this one from these ones. And this one doesn't look too bad either. I should drag those out of there. I should drag all of the ones that are looking not as bad away. See if I can save what I can. This is disappointing. But we're pretty sure that it's fungus, that's what it is. Yesterday, I went through these very, very aggressively and got rid of every little spot that looked like it had that fungus. We moved the tomatoes far apart from each other. I gave them a really good watering and fertilized. So I pulled a lot of stuff off, like even broke off like huge stalks. Hopefully they will start to grow. Those will start, that's not good. Okay, I'm getting that out of there. And I moved all of the leaves that I took off into the green bin compost so that it just gets away from here. It's not even on the property. I'm going to keep a really tight eye on these. I'm getting tomatoes. So I believe this is a yellow pear. And those are definitely yellow pear. I've got one Roma. So tomatoes are coming. I don't know if any of the beefsteaks will recover at all. Now these two beefsteaks I've separated from the rest. So they were definitely involved in the fungus. They were near the fungus. I don't want to put them near any of the rest of my garden. I don't know if it would have an impact, but I have them separated from the other ones because I'm thinking these ones might actually recover, like fully recover. Cabbage patch, pumpkin patch. Now the pumpkin patch doesn't have much leaves on it. I'm not sure. There's lots of flowers. I don't know if we're going to get any pumpkins. We have never had good luck with pumpkins. The kids are out here and they said, oh yeah, you're growing pumpkins. We've never really had good luck with pumpkins. So we'll see if we'll get any pumpkins or not. The cabbages are growing bigger. Onions are looking good. And this is my second the concession planting of the celery, and that is looking amazing. These are the sugar snap peas. Looks like we've got to do some deadheading or some clearing up of some leaves in there. And this is the bright light Swiss chard. Just lots and lots of really, really heavy rain has not been the kindest to them. These are the 6 cherry tomatoes. And I can't even remember what the name is, and I no longer see the, oh, there they are. These are Sweet Million. So these have been unaffected totally by the fungus. We are getting flowers, but we don't have any tomatoes on these yet, but they are growing well, and they have been fully separated for the other tomatoes always, so they've never been anywhere near them. It is amazing what 1 week's difference has done with the pepper plants, the pepper patch. So here we are. These are our gigantes. So those are starting to grow. I've got 2 on that plant and the beginnings of tons more. Down here, this is another gigante. I've got 2 growing, and again, lots more. And down here, these are the jalafuegos. So like you can see in my hand, that's pretty big. And then a whole bunch more coming, lots more flowers. And this jalafuego, that's pretty big. And then down here, this is the hot pepper, the burrito hot peppers. And so these are growing up. So the stems are at the bottom, and instead of dangling down, they're up. So we're starting to get some of those. At this point, in the jalapeno M's, I don't have any real big plants, but I do have the real big fruits, but I do have the beginnings, like right there, baby. And some little teeny baby ones up in here. And the Brussels sprouts. So we've never grown Brussels sprouts before, and so I've looked at them like what they're supposed to look like, and the stalks are starting to grow tall. So that is good. They look good and healthy. I'm happy. This is a very happy, healthy area of the container garden. We're waterside here. So the tomatoes that are struggling with the fungus, they are by the shed. So it's on the side of the house. Totally wanted to separate those new tomatoes that I had gotten. I had gotten some of those zebra cherries. That's these ones here. And I have 3 golden pears here. And we've totally moved them away from the other ones, and they are in great shape. I don't see any signs of that fungus as of yet. Potatoes are looking amazing. These are the green pepper plants, and we are starting to get some here. So just some little babies. Little babies up in this one as well. Celery is still growing. Maybe someone can chime in. When should we be picking the celery? And then we continue walking. And this is zucchini here, and we do have some starting to grow. I can get, so you can see down in here, we've got zucchinis growing. And we also have cucumbers. They are doing well. Oh, look, we've got a bee doing its job. Good job, little bee. We are actually getting some, there's another one, another bee. Wonderful, this makes me happy. This is an English cucumber. Right here, we've got another big one right here. Oh no, this one's not an English. This one's a regular cucumber. But we're starting to get cucumbers, so that's wonderful. And then when we keep on keeping on, this is the other strain of zucchini, and we've got, you can see 2 right there. The broccoli is doing well. I need to get those little ones. Those little ones need to come out of there. They are not getting enough sun because the leaves from the zucchini and the squash, they are shading them. We have, oh, more bees. You see that one down in there. There he is, way deep inside there. We have squash. So this one is now, fits in the side of my hand. Very happy, just hoping that everything continues healthy. The leaves are starting to get a bit yellowed here, so we will add some more fertilizer. I heavily fertilized the tomatoes yesterday, but I didn't fertilize the rest of the garden. Bush beans are starting to flower, so hopefully we will have some beans soon. The asparagus here is getting nice and fluffy. It's my understanding that's what we want. The rhubarb did not really love all of the rain, but I have been advised just to let these leaves die back. I mean, there's all this new growth, and I feel like if I pulled these dead pieces out, that would stimulate more growth. But it's the first year in the ground, so definitely looking for some more advice. So I have left it. I haven't pulled anything. Should I continue to do that? Asparagus here seemingly likes this spot. So this one now has 3 growths coming out down there. I have much more here coming. Here, new growth there, and it's actually 2. So this is the one that I had said, should I stake this up? I don't know what to do with them. And this one is totally lying on the ground. Like, what should I do? Should I try to stake them up? And up here, we finally have some new, you can see in here, some new pieces coming up. So I know I'm babying this area quite a bit, and I'd love to plant some more. So you see where the rocks are, that's to give us an indication this is where I have planted asparagus. As a reminder, this big patch in the middle is nothing but rock. There's huge rocks under there. We have tried to dig it up. Just in case anyone was interested in my actual flower gardens, almost everything was lost when we had the excavators in last spring. Of course, everything was dormant. Men driving excavators don't necessarily think that there might be gardens that they need to be aware of. So after it happened, I was able to come out and save a few small things. But the majority of the things you see in here now, we either had to buy new or were gifts. First big hosta here was a gift from my neighbor, my old neighbor at my old house. That little plant in the back, that was one of the things I was able to save. We haven't had any blooms on it yet. I always had dianthus, but none was able to be saved. So this is new dianthus. And then this plant, this big tall one, this is called butterfly plant, and I bought this at Canadian Tire this year. This hosta is one that I was able to save, and we actually thought all of the hostas I attempted to save didn't survive the winter, and I should have known better. We have a much later growing season here at the lake than the valley floor does because we're up on a mountain. This is actually a specialty hosta. This one is called the Patriot. And when it started to come up, we planted it. And I didn't realize that this one was the Patriot, or I wouldn't have put it side by side as the other variegated hosta that my old neighbor gave me. So next spring or late this fall, we are going to move this one so that there's a little bit of separation. This plant, this is one that I was able to save from the old garden, and it was originally a gift with the little yellow flowers from my mother-in-law from her garden. The huge sedum, absolutely gorgeous, is going to come into flower soon. We had sedum in the old garden, but none of them survived, and this one is from my old neighbor. And then I have a climbing hydrangea, which I had at the old house. I had a climbing hydrangea at the old house. It was December when we finally made the move, so I wasn't able to try to take any roots. So this is a new one, and we got this at the nursery. The dead pieces here, which I am leaving, these are Sweet Williams. They were beautiful in bloom, and they were from my mother-in-law's garden. We just dug up a little patch and brought them up. And these yellow flowers, this is loose strife. I had these in the old garden as well, but none survived, and my mother-in-law gave me some more from her garden. Oh, I think this was sage, some kind of a sage, new this year. This hosta is from one that I was able to save. Was this one I was able to save, or one that was from my old neighbor? Sedum. From my old neighbor, and this is a dappled willow. This, I actually got a giant tiger this year. On the right there, that is a lilac, and that actually survived from last year. It was new to me last year. I actually had done a trade with somebody. We had a lot of excavation work, and there was a ton of big rocks, and they were looking for rocks for a rock wall, and I just posted that they posted on the Buy Nothing site that they were looking for rocks, and I replied and said, I've got rocks. Come and get them and we'll help you load them up. And when they left, they gave me this little lilac cutting, and originally I thought that it died over the winter, but it survived. This hosta, this one is actually a specialty hosta. See how the stems are red? This one's called a Red October, and it survived. Very exciting to me. These are peonies. I had 3 or 4 different kinds of peonies before, gifts from old co-workers of mine, and one that we had purchased, and none of them survived. So 2 of these are from Kent Building Supplies, and then some are from my sister's garden. This rhodie is one of the only things that was still in the ground when the excavating happened, because it is an evergreen. So it was still in bloom, so they knew to leave that. This gorgeous hosta came from my old neighbor. This one, this little teeny baby one, is new this year, and that's from Canadian Tire, perhaps. And this is a azalea. I had a deciduous azalea at the old house, and it was big and gorgeous. So we picked up a new one when it was on sale at one of the nurseries. This tree, of course, the stalk or the trunk of the tree was there when the excavating was going on, so they knew not to touch this. It's actually a lilac tree. And this is a gold standard hosta, so the leaves are lime, and in the fall they will turn yellow, like a golden yellow. This survived as well. I had forgotten that I planted it here, and because the tree was saved, it was at the base of the tree, the hosta was saved as well. Kind of hidden here under the hosta, that's my rooster, and he is watching his hens and chicks. I had 5 or 6 varieties of hens and chicks, and I actually pulled a ton of them out with the attempt to save them, and they didn't survive over the winter. So these hens and chicks are new, and I've got maybe 2 other kinds. And I just got the smallest and little, like, teeny, inexpensive pots from the garden center in Canadian Tire. This is a perennial planter that I have had for years and years and years. This is voodoo sedum, you see in it, and that's what the pink flowers are. And there's a hosta tucked in the back. And every couple years I need to replace the hosta because the roots of the voodoo sedum choke it out. And this is one of my hens and chicks that needs to get in the ground. It's starting to make some little chickies, some babies. I did a little reorganizing of the table. I moved the squash, and even though they were at the end anyways, I moved the squash to just at the end here. Turned one of the eggplants around backwards and fit the majority of the broccoli, and you can even see here in the back, I'm getting broccoli. The majority of the broccoli, so this will get better sun. And I took 2 of the broccoli. Smallest 2 broccoli I've just moved over here for now, and once they get a little bit bigger and are able to manage better, we will move them back. I just fertilized all of the zucchinis and the squashes. No fertilizer for the tomatoes today, the cabbage or the pumpkins. I fertilized them yesterday. So all plants now 25 cents. We are extremely, like, nothing has plants left, so we're going to check it out in here and see if we can find some tomatoes that we could salvage in our garden. See if we can save some of these guys. Ooh, tomatoes. Tomatoes, tomatoes. I see a couple, I see some more things. Okay, we're going to take a look here. My herb garden is doing horrible, so I think we're going to try to pick, this is oregano, we're going to try to pick something out of here. Maybe we'll find something else. This is what I got from that little 25-cent sale. The whole thing cost $2.59. We got 2 packs of tomatoes. We've got Roma tomatoes, and these ones are Scotias. They're not in awesome shape, but for 50 cents, I'm going to try to revive them. And then we got some herbs for my herb garden. We've got sage, and I can clean those up. Parsley, can clean that up. This is basil. It's a great little basil. This is a red, dark opal basil. Dark opal basil, and this must be the same. Yeah, 2 dark opal basils, and then, ooh, an oregano. So I am going to bring, I've got 3 things that are still kind of alive inside, and then I've got 4 pots that, like, there's nothing alive. I had planted that lettuce in one, and that never ever grew. But I'm going to bring those 4 out, and so that's enough for 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I do have 1 parsley that's growing. I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to put this in the parsley. We are going to start with 4, and my very first is the oregano. I did a little cleanup on this, and we are going to get this planted. My little windowsill herb garden looks a lot better with the little transplants I bought. So we have back here parsley, basil. This is the red leaf basil. This is what I was growing before, and that is basil. From what I was growing before, that is sage. So if that keeps continuing on, I can move the sage in with this sage and transplant or reseed in there the summer savory, and then this is the oregano. So that's what my vision was right from the beginning. I really just don't have that great of luck with herbs. We think that I overwatered them initially, so I'm going to watch that a little more closely. But there's such a fine balance between overwatering and underwatering when we're in tiny little pots like that. So that's how that turned out. I might have to move this one. This is really tall. I might move this one to the edge and move the parsley into the middle. We'll see. Side by side, a little squash and a cucumber. And this one's a big one. Woo! So this is tomatoes take 2. The dogs are very curious of what I am doing over here. So of course, there's Chewy, there's Graybeard. These don't look like in great shape. What do you expect at this point in the season and buying them for 25 cents? So I've got the Scotias in the bigger pots, from there in the back to the end, and the Romas start with the green pot and come forward. We are going to leave these. The soil was quite wet. I mean, we have had a lot of rain. We're going to leave these and not water them today, but we are going to water tomorrow morning with a fertilizer. And I said they're not in, like, this one's pretty good. They're not in horrible shape, but I'll tell you one thing, they don't have a fungus. So we're going to see what we can do. And those pots in the back, those 6 back pots that I have the Scotias in, I got those today at Home Depot. I just asked if they had any pots they were going to be disposing of, and they gave me those. In general, we are extremely happy with how the gardening is going. We're learning a lot. One thing that we didn't have to do a lot of is weeding. In container gardening, there's almost zero weeding. But when we're container gardening, we need to water way more frequently because the smaller containers, the soil dries out much, much faster. So we're very, very aware of that. And we are thinking that we are watering on an appropriate schedule. And also we are fertilizing more than what we have ever done in the past, because we have had really wonderful soil at the old location, and we composted every year, lots of compost, manure. We would bring trailer loads of that in. So it was a really great garden. So we are doing a lot of things that we didn't have to do before. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the tomatoes, and what should we do with the ones that I have in isolation. They're still totally in isolation. There's tomatoes growing on them, so I don't want to throw them out. And there's lots of flowers where I think we might potentially have more tomatoes, but I'm just really not sure what else to do. And do you think the fungus would catch? Do I need to be in isolation from my other plants? Because right now they are totally. They have wire tomato cages in it. If I try to reuse those wire tomato cages, do they need to be sanitized? What should we do if we do take those tomatoes and get rid of them? Do the buckets need to be sanitized as well? Can we reuse the soil, or is that just totally don't even go there, get rid of it? Anyone that has experience with tomatoes and this kind of fungus, let me know what you think.